An Act revising the Penal Code and other penal laws, December 8, 1930. Preliminary Article. This law shall be known as the Revised Penal Code. Book 1. General Provisions regarding the date of enforcement and application of the provisions of this code, and regarding the offenses, the persons liable, and the penalties. Title 1. Felonies and Circumstances which affect criminal liability. Chapter 1. Felonies. Article 3. Definitions. Acts and omissions punishable by law are felonies. Delitos. Felonies are committed not only by means of deceit, dulo, but also by means of fault, culpa. There is deceit when the act is performed with deliberate intent, and there is fault when the wrongful act results from imprudence, negligence, lack of foresight, or lack of skill. Article 4. Criminal liability. Criminal liability shall be incurred 1. By any person committing a felony, delito, although the wrongful act done be different from that which he intended. 2. By any person performing an act which would be an offense against persons or property, where it is not for the inherent impossibility of its accomplishment, or an account of the employment of inadequate or ineffectual means. Article 5. Duty of the court in connection with acts which should be repressed, but which are not covered by the law, and in cases of excessive penalties. Whenever a court has knowledge of any act which it may deem proper to repress, and which is not punishable by law, it shall render the proper decision, and shall report to the Chief Executive, through the Department of Justice, the reasons which induce the court to believe that said act should be made the subject of legislation. In the same way, the court shall submit to the Chief Executive, through the Department of Justice, such statement as may be deemed proper, without suspending the execution of the sentence, when a strict enforcement of the provisions of this code would result in the imposition of a clearly excessive penalty, taking into consideration the degree of malice and the injury caused by the offense. Article 6. Consummated, frustrated, and attempted felonies. Consummated felonies, as well as those which are frustrated and attempted, are punishable. A felony is consummated when all the elements necessary for its execution and accomplishment are present, and it is frustrated when the offender performs all the acts of execution which would produce the felony as a consequence, but which nevertheless do not produce it by reason of causes independent of the will of the perpetrator. There is an attempt when the offender commences the commission of a felony directly or overacts, and does not perform all the acts of execution which should produce the felony by reason of some cause or accident other than his own spontaneous desistance. Article 7. When light felonies are punishable. Light felonies are punishable only when they have been consummated, with the exception of those committed against person or property.